He had conquered kingdoms. He possessed wealth beyond imagination, and his name made his enemies tremble in fear. Yet King Vikram was a prisoner, not of iron bars, but of his own mind. Every night, while his entire kingdom slept in peace, the king lay awake, staring at the ceiling. His thoughts were a raging storm of anxiety, endless worries, and silent fears. Power could buy him everything in the world, but it couldn't buy him a single night of quiet sleep. One morning, a traveling merchant brought news to the court. Deep in the misty, untouched mountains lived a monk, a man who hadn't spoken a single word in 30 years, yet possessed a peace so profound that anyone who visited him left completely transformed. Desperate for a cure, the king decided to leave his palace behind and seek this silent master. The journey was unforgiving. The king travelled alone, stripping away his royal guard and his luxury. As his horse moved deeper into the dark, ancient forest, the noise of the civilized world began to fade. But inside his head, the noise only grew louder. Questions plagued him. Will this monk truly have the answer? What if this is all a lie? How can someone who doesn't speak teach me anything? His ego and his anxiety were fighting every step of the way. By the third day, the king reached the high peak of the mountain. There, sitting cross-legged on a flat stone next to a crystal-clear mountain lake, was the silent monk. The monk looked fragile, yet his face held a stillness that the king had never seen in any human being before. He looked like the mountain itself, completely unshakable. Looked fragile, yet his face held a stillness that the king had never seen in any human being before. He looked like the mountain itself, completely unshakable. The king fell to his knees, his royal pride completely shattered. "Oh, master," he pleaded, "I have everything, but my mind is on fire. I am drowning in my own thoughts, and it is killing me. Please break your silence and tell me, how do I find peace?" The monk did not speak. He didn't even nod. He simply looked at the desperate king with eyes full of deep compassion. Then the monk reached down. He took a rustic wooden cup, scooped up some dry mud from the ground, and mixed it into the clear water of the lake. Instantly, the water in the cup became dark, cloudy, and completely ruined. The monk placed the dirty cup on a rock between them and gestured for the king to just sit and watch it. The king was furious. "I asked for wisdom, and he shows me mud," he thought. But looking at the monk's absolute serenity, the king held his tongue. He sat down and he waited. 5 minutes passed, then 10, then 20. As they sat in total, heavy silence, a strange thing began to happen. The swirling mud in the cup slowly began to sink. Particle by particle, the dirt settled at the very bottom. Within less than an hour, the water on top became crystal clear again, perfectly reflecting the blue sky above. The king stared at the cup, and suddenly a wave of profound understanding hit him. The monk looked at the king, smiled gently, and for the first time in 30 years, he broke his silence. His voice was soft, like a gentle breeze rustling through the trees. "Your mind is exactly like this water," the monk said. "When life gets chaotic, or when you are overwhelmed by anxiety, your immediate reaction is to fight your thoughts. You try to force them to stop. But when you fight the mud, you only stir it up more. You make the water dirtier. The monk looked up at the vast sky and continued, "To calm your mind, you do not need to do anything at all. You just need to give it time. Sit still. Let the thoughts settle on their own. Do not judge them. Do not fight them. Just observe. When the mud of your ego and desires settles down, the peace that you are looking for will naturally appear. Because peace is not something you acquire. It is what remains when you stop disturbing yourself." The king bowed his head low to the earth in deep gratitude. He had finally received his answer. He realized that the greatest power in the world wasn't the ability to control thousands of men. It was the ability to master oneself in silence. The king returned to his palace, but he was no longer a prisoner. In a world that is constantly screaming for your attention, remember the lesson of the silent monk. Next time your mind feels heavy, chaotic, and loud, don't fight it. Just sit. Be still and let the mud settle.